Welcome everyone to Dear Self Live. My name is Cindy Teevens. I'm author of Alchemy, How to Feel Good No Matter What, and The Happiness Lie, What Generations Have Been Told That Makes You Unhappy. Dear Self is the spiritual version of Dear Abby, where you are invited if you're seeking answers to why you feel, act, and react the way you do. It is said that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. I like to add, to appear. No matter where answers appear to come from, whether your mentor or a book or your friend, an enemy, a dog or a tree, ultimately they come from within, from yourself. So ask away, because the truth is available here and now, and we have to ask in order to get the answers. So welcome to the catalystic conversation that can unveil it. So today I didn't have a topic. I wanted to put this wide open for question and answer and see where that goes, sort of like the Christmas present that you forgot what was in there. You get to discover it as you unwrap it and unveil it. So I'm just going to open the lines to everybody. If anybody in particular has any burning question, feel free to come forward and unmute yourself and go ahead and ask. And if we haven't warmed up enough yet for that to happen, I'll just natter on. Okay, nobody with any burning questions that has been carried forward. We can also take questions on the chat on my website, alchemylovejoy.com. You can see the webinar live there. You can't interact visually or with sound, but you can type something in the chat box in there, and I can answer that question here. So that's another way. So one idea that came to mind recently for me is the idea of self-referential resistance. So what do I mean by that? When we conceive of ourselves as something separate from everything else, then our whole world revolves around that idea of ourself. And when that happens, we really become very tiny as our thoughts. And we can then believe our thoughts, not only believe the content of the thoughts, but to believe ourselves to be the I represented in the thought. And what does it mean, the I represented in the thought? It means within the thought there is embedded an I. Sometimes it's very direct. Sometimes it's got the word, the letter I. Sometimes it's got the word and the letters you, because the thought can pretend to refer to you by using the word you. You know, you shouldn't do that, or you should do this. But is the word you actually you? Or is it just a sound that you're hearing that you are aware of? It is not aware of you. And this is a huge shift in perspective. It seems subtle at first, but as you inquire and look closely and question more and more often, it becomes more and more obvious. Yeah, I'm that and I'm not that. And when you don't do this check, you can believe yourself to be that I or you or me. And then all manner of bad feeling things can arise, thoughts and beliefs. Because anything can attach onto this I or you or me. Imagination is completely unlimited. And generally, not always, but generally, these tend to be bad ideas about the you or I or me. And then we have suffering. Suffering of what? Who is suffering? Well, this body-mind is suffering. It's the body that feels the pain, the stress of thought. And the really strange thing about it is that the reality doesn't actually hurt you. It doesn't stress you. I had this so clearly illustrated to me some years ago when I was found myself out driving in freezing rain, which I never do anymore, and a car came in from the right-hand side and started to swing in front of me, spinning. And the last thought that came was, you can't both lose control. Keep control. And then all thought stopped. All there was this body, the brake, the car, the gears, and the other car, and the space around and between us. And I watched that space with an intensity and an awareness that I've never experienced before. I watched how close that space closed, how fast. And I very gradually and gingerly began to brake and gear down. And it was the most peaceful, absolute, beautiful state I ever experienced in my life till then. Not a shred of anxiety or fear or anything. There was no time for thought. Not a thought came in. And that car spun 6 times. And then it went back into the other lane and seemed to regain control, but began spinning again, and then came back at me again for another 8 times. Finally, he regained control and kept going. And then mind came back online. Oh my God, I could have been killed! And up went the anxiety, and the heart rate pounded, and I shook, and I couldn't drive anymore. Suddenly, I couldn't drive anymore. So I pulled over as I shook with fear, and I thought, I'm panicking now, but I'm safe. But I wouldn't have wanted to panic then. And so I had many learnings that came to me afterwards. But the most powerful one in the moment was, wow, if we don't have to suffer and stress and have anxiety and painful thoughts this close to potential disaster, that means we don't have to have it any time. And then the realization of there was no mental emotional suffering until thought came online. Until the body heard the words killed. And the body reacted, as it should, to danger. But before mind came on to say there was danger, there was absolute peace. For the first time, mind completely stopped. So the mind doesn't know the difference. Let me correct that. The body doesn't know the difference between not killed and killed. The word killed sends it into anxiety, sends it into flight or fight survival mode. You may think, oh, don't be afraid. And afraid is what is experienced. This is why when you do the practice of alchemy, you always answer with what you do want, not what you don't want. Thinking about what you don't want instantaneously, you access the feeling of what you don't want. So switching your attention from what you don't want onto what you do want gives you immediate relief. And it also teaches you that the true source of pain is what you're putting your power of attention on. And it's not because the thought arises that it hurts. It's whether or not you have interest in it. because the thought killed can come up, but really not do much of anything. Until you believe it and have some interest in it. Engage it. And now you've plugged it in. About a year ago, it was about a year ago actually, I was in suicide intervention training. And one of the things we did was role playing. And I role played the suicidal person. And I was saying things that I had absolutely no interest in, that I had absolutely no belief in. But I was accessing a memory. They didn't want me to do this. They told us not to do this. But I did it. And I wasn't fully engaged, fully interested, fully believing it, because I was also looking at it from the perspective of what to do with someone who's in the middle of suicide. So my attention was partly split in multiple ways, actually. But that went on for about 20 minutes. And the blood pressure in my head was high, and I've never felt that for years. And I had a headache. So even though I didn't believe this, but I was saying the words, and the body was responding. So what we say is very, very important. What we say to ourselves, what we say to others. Whether you say you believe it or not, it doesn't matter. The body is listening. The body is responding. What are you telling the body? Are you telling the body it's always been like this, it's never going to be different? Ooh. The story you drop right now changes your right now and your future. Is that enough reason to drop it? Just stop it. I clearly remember a point where I was verbally telling somebody my suffering story. And in the middle of that, I had this, I'm so tired of this story. And not only that, I'm tired of telling stories. And I just stopped it. I just changed the subject. And then later on, when I was alone by myself and I heard the story coming up again, I just stopped it. I was tired of it. I ignored it, turned away from it, did something else, withdrew my power of attention and interest from it. It's like pulling the plug. So you can do this. You can, choose a different thought. I'm not a big proponent of doing that unless you're using it to free yourself. Because all that does is give you a temporary lift, positive thinking. You think this thought for a while and you feel good, and then you stop and you feel bad. Because it's still there. It's still going on. The attachment is still there. The belief is still there. And until you break the belief in the attachment, it will still be there. So you can work with the content of a thought, like, I'm just a fragile person. You can try and take that and say, no, I'm a strong person. So you can work on the level of the content of the thought, or you can work on the level of your identity. Even as you are saying, I'm just a fragile person, you are believing yourself to be the I. And you're not who you think you are. You exist before this I thought arose, without an I thought, without any thought. You exist. Do you need an I thought to tell you a story about yourself? Do you want to keep living the same old story about yourself? Or any story about yourself? Then the I might say, well, what would I be without my story? Well, it's a good question. You won't die. Try it out. See what happens. So this whole story of I and me and the content that comes after it is all superimposed on what is. And what is has nothing to do with a story or a thought. What is far simpler than that. You could be sitting in a meditation and have a story about a car you hear squealing down the road. And you could have all kinds of imagination about that. Oh, somebody just robbed a house. There's going to be police sirens any moment now. All the while, what's actually happened? What actually is? There you are, sitting there, meditating, feeling the breath, maybe noticing the heartbeat, maybe noticing the coolness, the warmth, any moisture. Maybe not, depending on how much you are in the story with your power of attention. So when our power of attention goes out onto a thought story, we lose the here and now in a way. Not ultimately, you can't lose it. But in your experience, it appears as if you do. And identifying with this I, you may say something like, when you come back to reality, I don't know where I went. I don't know what happened. The wall disappeared. I had that experience, meditating in front of a wall. The wall came back. Yeah, did the wall come back? Did I go? This is one of the values of meditating, is to realize what's actually going on here and to separate what is from imagination, from thought. Because when you're sitting still and there's nothing going on, this becomes very blatantly obvious to you. And I'm not talking about meditating to sound or music or some guided meditation. I'm talking about sitting down still with nothing going on, quiet, just you and life. Then you can see the play of thoughts. You can see the storylines come and go while you stay put. While nothing has actually happened except as a storyline. And when you see that this is all imagination storyline, you can start to separate yourself from it. I am not that. Which returns you to your natural self. And you notice it's peaceful and it's quiet. And there's no problems. Fall in love with this. Start to value this stillness. Take refuge in it when the noisy mind arises. There's a story I remember hearing somewhere about there being two wolves inside of you, a good one and a bad one, and a young child asking, those two wolves, they're fighting, which one's going to win? And the wise elder said, the one you feed. Which one are you feeding? Are you feeding thoughts Believing them to be yourself? Or are you starving them? Starving them with stillness. Okay, I'm going to open up the line, see if anybody has any questions on that again, and I'll go and check and see if we have any in the chat box. Hey, Barbara.
I mean, it's a very basic question.
Very good.
How can you just be?
How can we just be? Well, you can't not be. Was there ever a time that you weren't?
No. There was always something. Awareness, or there was, yeah. There was always beingness.
Yes.
I mean, beingness without being pulled. Well, I guess it's practice.
So, without being pulled, I would check who is the I that thinks it's being pulled. And what is this actually? There's an idea of me as being pulled, but what's actually going on?
Okay, there is being engrossed in something, being distracted, and identifying with thoughts, stress, or having to do something. Yeah, it's the identification.
So all of those are thoughts, right? Having to do something, that's a thought too, right?
Yeah.
Is there anything that isn't actually a thought?
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Or a feeling?
There's not always a feeling.
Sorry?
There's not always a feeling. It's like now when I talk to you, I'm just talking. Trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you say you're pulled, what is actually happening there? Is there anything other than a thought or a feeling arising?
No. Just it's a thought. Oh, I have to do this. Guests are coming, and I have to do the bed, or I have to go shopping, or whatever. These are thoughts, and they seem so absolute and important, and the world will crash, break down if I don't follow these thoughts, and they're so stressful. So it's actually fear of not following certain thoughts and not just trying to wait and see what happens.
So who has the fear?
I don't know. There is fear or uncertainty or.
Yes, there's fear. But fear is what? Fear is a feeling and or a thought, right? So there might be a thought, if I don't do this, something bad's going to happen.
Right. It's a thought or a feeling, and the feelings in the body, and then the third chakra gets into a knot.
Yes. So it's all thought and feeling, right? That's what's going on, right?
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
Are you any of those thoughts or feelings?
I guess not. No.
So is there really this phenomena of you getting pulled?
No, no. Oh, I'm saying it from my head now. At the moment, then it feels like there's nothing else.
Yes, right. So it's in that moment that you need to, as soon as this sense of I have to do something, or this is bad things going to happen, to use that pain. What we've done in the past, and what people generally still do, is when you feel pain, you believe it rather than question it. You know, I say if it feels bad, don't accept it, suspect it. So to start using a bad feeling to ask yourself, okay, there's this idea that if I don't do something, something bad's going, okay, check this I, check the identity of this I. Can you do that now? Can you see what this is? Is it a thought? Is it a feeling, this I?
No, no, it's like a presence, like a
Like a what?
general awareness, or it's just like a general awareness, like a presence. Huh?
The I that has a problem is a presence?
No, no, no,
I'm asking about the I that has a problem.
no, no.
That one.
Um, uh, I don't think it exists really. It's like an observation. There is stress going on, or there is fear, or whatever thoughts going on, and then the belief that that is real, or that has to be followed. I mean, it's just programs running.
Yes, you're right. So it's stuff going on. When you look at it, you can see that it's stuff going on. It's a feeling that has arisen, or it's a thought that has arisen, and there may well be an I in it, a sense of I somehow, a feeling of I, or a thought of I. But if you actually look, and question this I, wait, is this actually me? All you will find is a thought or a feeling, right? Do you find any such thing as a me who has a problem? No. Okay. So just in this looking, there's some relief.
That's right. Yes, of course. Yes.
It's in the non-looking where there's pain. And this is what, when people say, don't forget yourself. There's no real forgetting. What's happening is your attention is going from one thing on to another.
Yeah.
And when your attention is on the idea I, which is in trouble or has a problem, then you are not paying attention to the reality that this I doesn't exist. That this is a thought, this is a feeling, and then you can recognize you recognizing these things, the true you recognizing these things. And when you do that, everything shifts again.
It does. Yeah, it's just a matter of doing it. Yeah, or looking, remembering, doing it.
Yeah, using the pain. It's like a child that falls on the floor, that's learning to walk. The child doesn't yell and scream and curse at the floor, you stupid floor. They use the floor and they push off of it to stand up again, right? And away they go. So it's using the pain to wake you up. And that is the only purpose of pain. If pain has any purpose whatsoever, it's to wake you up out of suffering, because suffering is not of benefit to the body. It does not help the body-mind, and it just triggers suffering in other people as well. So there's a lot of incentive here to use pain. And what happened for me was I realized I could feel good and how to shift it, and so I started valuing feeling good. And I went around feeling good, and it was my highest priority. So if anything bad started to sort of sneak in, I noticed it fairly quickly, and quicker and quicker and quicker as I felt better and better and better. And then I just used it. But I also suggest doing this even for minor things, so-called minor things, where there isn't a big surge of painful energy in any way. There's just like a mild, oh, I should go to the store or something. And just a reality check. Okay? Am I the I? And you look at that and you notice that's a thought.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay to be a thought, and it's okay for the thought to be present, as long as you recognize you're not the thought, and therefore in that you're recognizing your true self. And now the thought is an option. It's not something that is dictating you, right? So this is where identification breaks.
Yeah.
Do you want to use an example? Because we're talking about it theoretically, you know, up till now, and actually...
Well, and just hearing you, I feel slight tension in my belly. There is also slight sadness in the background.
Okay. And what does the sadness say?
Well, the sadness is not so strong, or not so noticeable now. It's more the tension in the belly. Yeah, when I focus on the tension, yeah, there is some sadness. What does the sadness say? It's like there's a wish to surrender, to just let go.
Okay, nice. That's not a bad thing.
I know, but as if, I don't know, maybe a program I have to do other things first, or I don't know.
And who is the I who has to do other things? Just check. Just look. Just look.
Yeah, no, I can't find anybody.
So what was that?
It was a feeling, and there was some interest in the feeling. Also, when you ask, oh, what is that feeling, or what does it say, then immediately there is some attachment to it. Oh, there's sadness. What could it be? What is the cause? And that, I think there's attachment happening then, or identification happening.
Okay, too much thinking about it at this point. I really like to just stay very simple. You know, when the sadness says, I wish to surrender, I could say, you know, there's a wish to surrender, and it's felt very good. This is a good feeling thought. Somebody else can say, I wish to surrender, and it's felt very bad. See? Because what comes with that are some sort of below conscious level thoughts of, well, but I can't surrender. I don't know how. I have to do other things, blah, 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 right? And so this I wish to surrender, yeah, I wish to surrender is, it's not actually truly a wish to surrender, actually. Okay. The wish to surrender, it's like if you tried a new food and you really liked it and you wish to have some more, you would just go toward it. You'd go and get it, right? That's a true wish for something, okay? But if you wish to have food and said, well, yeah, but I can't. I have to do other the so-called ego will put these things in front of you, you know, I have to do something else first. And that will never end. There will always be some other, right?
Oh, yes, yeah, I know. I mean, that's what I notice. There's always something, this thought, I have to do this first, and then I always.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, so you know, a true wish, the desire to surrender is actually, it's very sweet, it's very beautiful. It's a release of everything you thought you were. But what ego is saying is, oh no, no, I don't know what I'll be without me. You know, this could be dangerous. I could die. And because you identify with the I, you might actually have this sad feeling of, I will die, you know? And the feeling can be there, but it's completely untrue. When the ego dies, you don't die. Okay? It's almost actually like you're reborn, if we could use these words. And it's a very beautiful thing. So what feels bad is not the wish to surrender. This is a lovely thing. What feels bad is everything else that is put in front of it. Okay? So I want to ask you, if we come back a moment to this idea, you know, yeah, but I guess maybe I have to do other things first. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who told you to say that?
Immediately, parents, mother.
No. Who? Where is your parent or mother now?
Gone.
Yeah, they're not here, right? Yeah, they didn't do that, right? So who told you to say that now?
It's some thought, of course. Huh?
Who made you say that? Is a thought of who?
I don't know, some program running. Some old program running.
So there's some program that made you say that?
No, nothing made. No, it just comes up, and well, there's some identification with it, huh?
Well, let's throw that out because it's very conceptual at this point, because what is that? Okay, so nobody made you say that, right?
No.
So it comes up,
Mm-hmm.
and this is where the saving grace is. This is where the gap is. This is where the peace is. This is where the opportunity is. Nobody makes you say that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Right.
You don't have to say it to me. You don't have to say it to yourself. And what happens? Where is it if you don't think it?
It's gone. Doesn't exist.
Yeah. Is there anything blocking you from surrendering?
No. No.
Very good. You're very welcome.
Yeah.
Any other problems?
I noticed thoughts coming up again, and
Okay.
like, yes, but, huh? Then, okay, I can. This thought can come and go as well.
Bravo. Isn't that a miracle?
Yeah. Yeah. So no problem. No, nothing.
Very good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just it, huh? I mean, there's nothing else.
Yes. And if we wait here, one thought will come up, the habitual thinking process, which is not what you are. Something will come up. And if you don't identify with it, it will come, it will go. And if we sit here long enough, you may find one. you know, that you identify with that slips past you, and then I'll grab it.
Yeah, it's funny. It's quite funny. Huh? Yeah, if they would take form, if one couldn't see them like objects, huh?
Yes.
Then, yeah, it would be easier.
Well, is that what happens?
Huh?
Is that what happens?
That they take form?
Yeah. You see them. They take form.
I don't. I feel it might be easier if they would take form. Hmm?
But they must take form, mustn't they? I mean, not form like a mug. But they take form, right?
They do. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, otherwise you couldn't sense them.
Hmm.
And that would be really bad.
I guess so. Yeah, right. Yeah, it's a subtle form.
It's a subtle form. Yes,
Hmm.
it's a subtle
Yeah,
form.
that's
But yes, but you are more subtle yet.
right. Right.
This is
Yeah.
how you notice them.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, of course. Hmm. 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 Right.
That is how you know yourself, is by knowing what you're not. You notice a form of some sort, you know, a thought form, a feeling form, an
Hmm.
image form, a memory form.
Hmm.
You notice all of these.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's in the noticing of them that you don't identify with them as them.
Right, right, right. Mhm. Thank you.
Welcome. I'd be
Mm.
curious if anything more comes up. Feel free to
Thank you.
let it come up. You know, one of the things that really helped me when I realized it was useful to go through all the questions that were coming up. That's why I started Dear Self as a venue for people to let their questions come up, because there was a time when I had nobody to talk to about this stuff, you know.
Yeah.
and and I didn't realize that I could actually, you know, spinning in your own wheels, talking to yourself about it when you identify as ego and thought really doesn't go anywhere. You know, this is why
Right.
sometimes it's better to bring them out to somebody else
Yeah.
who doesn't have your attachment, your identification, your, you know, model of the world, and that is where we get perspective from them.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I started to do was just stir the questions, bring them out as much as I could, as fast as I could, because I realized they were what kept me from the truth. They were what kept me from peace.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, if I can burn through them, the faster the better.
Right. Right. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. No, I'm very grateful that you offer this opportunity to ask questions and listen to you. Really, it's wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Anybody else have any questions? We'll open up the lines again. Oh, I'm going to look over to the chat window. It's a very interesting phenomena when people start to hear these type of questions and start to notice that they are not a thought. Somehow it gets awfully quiet in here. um, you know, we stop turning the wheels of mind. And so, you know, we really have to sometimes make an effort now to go and ask a question, to stir one up. And that's okay, because it's good practice for you. Go ahead and stir one up. It will start to come up, and you can check it out and see, is there an I in there? Not all questions carry an I necessarily. But if you find one that does, you can manage it and handle it and never speak it, and move right on. So with practice of doing this, what you're doing is, in essence, a form of meditation. But it's can be done anywhere, 24/7. It doesn't have to be done at home in a cushion in a corner or whatever. It's a meditation because what you're doing is you're redirecting your power of attention away from the thoughts and onto yourself, onto your still and silent self, where there's no thought, where it's peaceful, where it's still. You might have some thoughts in the periphery, they might be like, sort of a radio in the background, but not really a big issue. And that's fine. And you can go through your day like that. The more you do this, the better. Sometimes one of the questions that come up is, well, gee, can I operate? Like, how can I think like this? It doesn't preclude you from using thought. It's just now that thought no longer uses you, or appears to use you. Of course, it can't. You are using it. It's just a question of, are you using it in a practical manner, or you're using it to identify with? Are you using it, believing it to be you? Because thought in itself is not a problem. I mean, the ugliest thoughts can come and go, not a problem. I've had some of them, but they're not taken seriously. And thoughts about others the same way. Whether it's a thought about you or a thought about others, they're equally a thought. And whether it's a thought about you or a thought about ice cream, it's equally a thought. The thought with a you or an I or a me in it does not pertain to you. It pertains to the sentence. It's part of the sentence. It's not you. To realize this again and again and again until it becomes like a meditation of you stay with yourself, which is what's actually going on. And when people do this, they notice that they feel very aware. They may hear things, their senses may appear to be heightened. You'll be feeling the body intensely, hearing, because all of your power of attention has not gone into thought, not absorbed in thought. And then other thoughts may come up like, well, this is boring. This sentence sounds like there's no I in there, but there's an implied I, It's just an incomplete sentence. This is boring for who? Right? There is an I in there. And, your actual reality, your actual what is never boring. It is continually refreshing. Life is alive and spontaneous and ever changeful. But you can have a boring thought, like this is boring. This just comes from the perpetual thinking that this process called ego, because it's not a thing, it's a process. We can be so used to being in thought and so busy, and it's exhausting. I'm sure everybody here can agree to, if you do it intensely. You're so engrossed in thought that you start to think that thought is life, that thought is what's real, that thought is what's true, that thought is what's going on. And when thought stops, it's like, oh my God, there's nothing going on, which is another thought. There's never nothing going on. Never. There's this vast richness that you take yourself away from when you get lost and absorbed in thinking. That you no longer notice, you no longer value. Life itself, you no longer value. Because all that's valued is this. But most people, when they find the mind quietens down because they're watching and they're noticing when there's an I thought and discarding it or dismissing it, they say this feels good. Yeah? Is that your experience?
Yeah, gives energy, or there's more energy.
You will start to notice the energy that you didn't notice before, so it appears like there's more energy. But when you do what I say, when you do what I call coming to your senses, which is feeling your feet, sensing into the top of your head, sensing into your shoulders, taking in your peripheral vision, and noticing your breath moving in and moving out. And you do that all at once, simultaneously. Right away, that feels good.
Yeah, expanding.
It feels expansive.
Yes.
It's because your power of attention is no longer congealed. It's no longer focused onto one thing like my words or maybe your thoughts about my words.
Well, that's a thought too now I'm having. Because listening to you, I'm also trying to be more listening, not so focused, but just listening big. And there was a worry that I might not catch what you say, or I have to sort of creep into you with my mind.
Yeah.
But I'm actually trying to just be and listen. But there's some feeling of insecurity also.
Yeah,
Well,
feeling.
can creep in. Huh? It may not. Things may not be under control if I'm just sort of listening in a relaxed way. Huh?
And things need to be under control?
No. But there's that thought again. Oh gosh, who knows what will happen? Might.
Who knows what will happen to whom?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's just thoughts. yeah, just thoughts.
Who knows what will happen to you if you miss something?
Yeah. The feeling of fear of losing control. I think it's fear of losing control and just stepping out into the open and having nothing to hold on to, something like that.
Right. Have you ever left the open?
I don't know. I guess on one level not.
Yeah. All you've had is a closed thought, right?
That's true.
A thought about,
It's all thoughts, yeah, it's all thoughts or fear or a feeling.
Yeah. I call them thought feelings because they arise together,
Yeah.
So, losing control. Is there an I in there? who would lose control?
I guess nobody.
But that's a nice logical answer. That's the knowledge answer, right? But what I'm looking for is in the moment that this I arises, this I who's afraid of losing control.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a knowledge answer superimposed on top of that really is not that helpful. It doesn't expose this sense of I for what it actually is. It just sort of distracts from it for a moment.
Well, it's just a feeling. It's just a feeling like, oh, and then the body reacts, huh?
Yes, yes. Well, a thought will come, right, of losing control. This thought's there, right?
Right, yeah.
That I need to be focused and get every little thing, or I'm going to lose control, or something like that, right?
Mm.
Or is it when you're feeling your feet in the top of your head, when you're coming to your senses, and everything feels like it's expanding? It's not. It's just your power of attention that's expanding. Everything already is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unlimited.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that when this feeling arises?
Yeah.
That's when this feeling arises?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the feeling of losing control.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's a thought, right?
It's a thought and a feeling.
Yes.
Like wanting to run away, or like body, like flight, or
Okay. Yeah.
or going back into the used feeling of being contained and
So of you being contained, right?
yes, yeah, or the body, or yeah,
Yeah.
the
Which
feeling
is
of the need for being contained, and as it's used to.
as you are used to. You're used to being contained.
Well, whatever, yeah. Yeah.
Is it you we're talking about here? Who are we talking about?
Yeah, good question. Well,
So when it arises, I know that your higher knowledge is coming in here, and it's sort of getting in the way right now. I don't want it to. I want to just be bare bones honest. When this sense of losing control, when you feel so open, okay, this sense of losing control, it's for you, right? It's your control, right? That's what the experience is. I'm afraid that I will lose control.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Okay, so we want to look at this I. We want to look at the identity of this I that says, I'm afraid I'm going to lose control. Okay? Just have a look at it. Is it a thought? Is it a feeling?
It's a body feeling.
Is a body feeling? Okay, you can see that, right?
Well,
Yeah.
I feel it, or it's
Feel it,
just a
sense it.
bodily feeling.
Yeah, you can recognize it, right? As a body
Yes.
feeling. Yeah, this urge to run away. Yes. And you can sense the thought that comes with that urge, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you can sense these things as objects in your awareness, right? So who's sensing them?
It's just there. It's just being sensed.
By whom are you sensing them? You're noticing this?
I could say I, yeah. I.
So if you are noticing this I am afraid, this I who's afraid and wants to run, is it you?
No, that's not me. No.
So you don't want to run, do you?
No.
And are you
No,
afraid?
I just want to stay and be.
So are you afraid?
No. It's a very fine line between that feeling, wanting to run away, and just observing it. I mean, it's very,
Look at the
very.
one who wants to run away. Look at the one. There's a one there who wants to run away.
Mm-hmm.
So look at that. Get a real hard look at that. Real close up and personal hard look. Can you see it, sense it, feel it, notice it? The actual one who wants to run away. The me. Because if I asked you this, who wants to run away? Is it you?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm?
There's just that feeling, just the body feeling. I'm just aware of that body feeling and something struggling, some struggle going on.
Who is struggling? Don't think about it. If I just ask you who's struggling, are you going to say me? Yeah, I want to run away?
I would normally say it, yes.
Then if that's what you're sensing right now, is that's what's coming up, say it. Yes, me, I want to run away.
No, no, there's the awareness of that thing wanting to run away.
Okay. All right. Can you for a moment tap into what you would normally say? Yes, it's me, I want to run away.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do that?
Yes. Yeah, I can, yeah.
Okay. Now do that and look at that I or me that wants to run away. Is it you?
It's like a shadow. It's like a
Is it you? I
no,
don't.
not
Yeah. Okay. Not really, or yes or no. We have to
no,
be clear.
no. It's not me. If I really look at it, if I really am aware of it, it's not me. It's like a shadow.
Okay.
Image.
So it's
Like
not you. So you can say.
it's not
So,
me. No.
so you can say that. You can say with all honesty and integrity that that thing called me that wants to run away is not me, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Is the line larger now?
A little, a little, a little.
Are you, so that's not you, right?
Right, right.
Okay. So do you have any shape?
No, I don't see any shape. No. Uh-uh.
Do you see any size?
No, no, it's just beyond everything.
Any location?
Beyond, yeah. Absolutely.
Can you run anywhere?
No, no, nothing to run.
Okay.
No,
All right. How big is that gap now?
bigger, bigger.
Okay.
Mm. That's wow.
So the first step is to recognize what you're not, that thing, to see. So when in the moment that you're identified, you're thinking you are this thought or this feeling. And so the first step is to have a hard look at this thing, even though you're saying me, I want to run away. You take this hard, close look at it, and you recognize that's not me. And in recognizing that's not me, you are recognizing yourself. And then you can see, oh yeah, I don't need that. I don't want that. I'm okay. There's nothing to do, nowhere to go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So the really super important key thing here is to realize that you're not who you are thinking you are. You're not who you think you are. And the only way to know in your direct experience, not as a concept or a thought or an idea or a hope or a wish or a theory or a religion, is to check. You have to check in your own direct experience to see once and for all with final absolute certainty what's going on here. To see there's a thought present, or there's a fear present, or there's an image or memory, or you can see these things. And you use them like you use the ground to push off of. To turn your attention on yourself. And stay there. Keep your attention there. Keep your attention there and allow the questions to come and look at them. If there's an eye, look at the eye. And burn through the questions this way. Till there's none left. And when there's none left, you just remain as you are. How you doing? Good.
Good. Yeah.
Very good. Okay, I'll throw the lines open again, see if anybody else has any questions, comments, or if everybody's going to remain silent. You're included in that, Barbara.
Sir, I'm included.
You're included in that, yes. So I just want to check in with you again. Is there any fear? No? Okay. Very good.
Now there's feeling of love.
Very good. I've heard the quote that, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. However, even fear need not be feared. and that's the ultimate. I mean, fear itself, it will come, it will go, it will pass. It always does. All thoughts, all feelings always pass. And they'll pass quicker if we let them go. If we are not interested in them.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll look to the board for any chat questions, and if not, then we'll wrap it up and give everybody else another minute or so to think of any other questions. I hope everybody had a good Christmas and gave themselves the greatest gift of realizing that their joy comes from within and has no object necessary, no thing, no person, no event necessary. You don't even need the mind to settle down and stop. You just need to notice the stillness that is always available. It never leaves you. It's always reliable, whereas thoughts and feelings are completely unreliable. They come, they go, and you can't control them. So to discover the joy that has no opposite within, that comes with your very self, which you can never lose. That's my wish for your gift this year. And for the new year. So actually, the next call will be next year.
Wow. Yes.
So I wish everybody a happy new year, a happy new moment, every moment, because every moment is an opportunity to keep opening the gift that keeps giving. Your very self. Thanks for joining me today. Lots of love. Peace.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Wendy.
Thank you. Bye, Viv.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Adrian. Oh, we have some new people joining and we're just leaving. Sorry. Bye. Bye. Bye, Christian. Next Saturday, next
Bye.
Sunday.
Next time.
Next Sunday, 3 p.m. Hope to see you. You can watch the replay on this in a few minutes.
I will. Good night.
Good night. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.